You have to know what Kabbalas oil really is. Kabbalas oil is one of those weaponized words that people in authority use quite often when they're afraid. They feel threatened, so they say, have some Kabbalas oil, which really means they're trying to shut you down and make you be less than. Kabbalas oil is to make you be more than. The Rebbe explained, it's actually a Purim Fabrengen, Tafshin Yud Tes, what true Kabbalas oil is. The Rebbe said, some people think that Seichel and Kabbalas oil are mutually exclusive. In other words, you can't be self-disciplined and be a thinker at the same time. They just don't go together. One is always going to compromise the other. So the Rebbe said that actually that's untrue. Kabbalas oil ultimately means that I submit myself to Hashem. Okay? I submit myself to Hashem. I'll do whatever you want. No, that's not submitting yourself. That's submitting part of yourself. Your action. I'll do whatever you want. But you have much more to yourself than just your koyach hamaaseh, your doing. Much more. What do I have going on inside of me? I have seichel and midos. I have my unique perceptions and I have my emotions. That's myself, my whole self. So Kabbalas oil means that you give yourself to Hashem. If you tell Hashem, God, I'm not going to think anymore, I'm just going to be frum, you actually are denying Hashem not only of part of you, but the best part of you, your seichel. So you're not allowed to say, I'm going to turn off my brain and just be a good boy or a good girl. True Kabbalas oil means I'm going to train myself how to think in a holy way, in a godly way. Not, I'm going to stop thinking, I'm going to start thinking, but I'm going to think like a Jew. I'm going to think like a Nefesh Elokis, which means what we've been saying here. That true education is that instead of forcing somebody to do something they don't want, you bring out of them what they truly want, and then you align all parts of them to that truest desire. All parts meaning not only your will and your beliefs, but the way your mind operates and your heart, your emotions, and ultimately, yes, of course, your action. So it's integrity in the truest sense of the word. Integrity means to be integrated. To be integrated means that there's no discrepancy on any level with another level of myself. That I'm not fragmented from myself. When I'm integrated, that means that my beliefs and my desires and the way my mind operates, and my emotions, and my attractions, and my desires, and my behaviors are all consistent. So when we take a scalpel out and we remove any part of that in order to achieve Kabbalas oil, you're actually not doing Kabbalas oil at all. You're doing the opposite. So if we want to have true Kabbalas oil, that means we're going to have to actually have thoughtful conversations. We're going to have to explain things to people. Starting with the concept of Kabbalas oil. You know, you can't have Kabbalas oil to the concept of Kabbalas oil. Everything has to start somewhere. In other words, intelligently explain to me why Kabbalas oil is important, and then later, after you've explained it to me, you can invoke that principle, and you could say, let's have Kabbalas oil. There's a letter from the Rebbe in the Igros. The Rebbe is writing to a woman, a teacher, and he tells her, when you teach your students, they were teenagers in Israel, when you teach your students about Kabbalas oil, you should explain to them that it's good for them, and that, and this line shocked me, and that secular science has confirmed this. Is that fascinating? That sounds antithetical to Kabbalas oil. If it's Kabbalas oil, then I don't need to know that it's good for me. I don't need to know that the Goyim agree with it. Who cares? If it's Kabbalas oil, it's Kabbalas oil, just do it. But you understand what the Rebbe is saying here? When you teach them Kabbalas oil, explain to them the reason for it. Explain to them how it benefits them. Explain to them how it makes them have a better life. Explain to them, and this part blew me away, why from a purely secular, non-Jewish scientific approach, meaning leaving aside any spiritual talk, explain to them why it's a good thing. So the way that Rebbe describes Kabbalas oil, and especially teaching children about Kabbalas oil, sounds a lot different than the way many of us may have seen it taught and talked about. Does that make sense?